The note changed everything. The catalog is not the source. Eleanor stared at the 6 words for so long that the letters began to blur. For weeks, every clue had pointed toward the master catalog. The corrections. The erased identities. The altered histories. The missing references. Everything seemed connected to it. Yet Clara Whitmore's final message suggested they had been looking at the wrong target. Or at least an incomplete one. The master catalog wasn't creating the corrections. It was implementing them. A difference that sounded small. A difference that changed. Rain fell steadily outside the library. The building had grown quiet. Most employees had gone home hours earlier. Only a few lights remained visible across the vast structure. Eleanor sat at the table surrounded by files. Victor remained across from her. For the first time, she realized how exhausted he looked. Not physically. Emotionally. Like a man carrying a burden that had become too heavy years ago. "Tell me about Clara Whitmore." Victor was silent for several moments. Then he nodded. "She was smarter than all of us." The answer surprised her. Victor rarely praised anyone. Certainly not like that. She was a historian. Historian. Archivist. Research analyst. A faint smile appeared. She could identify a forged document faster than most experts could identify a genuine one. What happened to her? Victor looked toward the shelves. She stopped believing the project. Why? Because she noticed something nobody else noticed. Eleanor leaned forward. What? Victor's expression darkened. The corrections always moved in the same direction. The room fell silent. Marcus looked up. What does that mean? Victor opened a folder. Inside were examples spanning decades. At first the changes seemed unrelated. Different people. Different institutions. Different time periods. Then Eleanor noticed it. Every correction simplified something. Complicated family histories became cleaner. Disputed authorship became certain. Messy ownership records became straightforward. Contradictory evidence disappeared. Ambiguity vanished. History became easier to manage. Easier to understand. Easier to control. Clara had recognized the pattern. And once she saw it, she couldn't unsee it. She believed someone was steering the process, Victor said. Who? She never found out. The answer frustrated Eleanor. What did she do? She started investigating. That sounded familiar. Too familiar. Victor looked directly at her. The same way you did. A cold feeling settled inside Eleanor. Following records. Finding inconsistencies. Tracing corrections. Discovering hidden connections. The path Clara followed was nearly identical to hers. And Clara had disappeared. Not encouraging Marcus returned to Elias Hale's notebook. He had been unusually quiet ever since learning about his grandfather. Eleanor noticed. Marcus. He looked up. You okay? He forced a smile. Not really. She understood. Every discovery seemed to make the mystery more personal. Arthur. Clara. Now Elias Hale. The investigation was no longer about history. It was about people connected to them. People being pulled into the center. Marcus closed the notebook. My grandfather left something else. Victor frowned. What? Marcus turned several pages. Near the back was a list. Names. Dates. Locations. Dozens of entries. Most meant nothing. Until one stood out. Clara Whitmore, meeting requested. Date. 19 years ago. Location. Not a city. Not a building. Not an institution. A room number. Inside the library. Sublevel 6. Everyone stared. Victor broke the silence first. There is no sublevel 6. Marcus showed him the page. Apparently there is. The blueprints disagreed. Officially, the library contained 5 underground levels. Maintenance records confirmed it. Architectural plans confirmed it. Every document confirmed it. Yet old construction files revealed something strange. The original building design included 6. Not 5. 6. At some point, the lowest level disappeared from the plans. Not physically. Administratively. The space existed. The records changed. Eleanor exchanged a look with Marcus. The irony wasn't lost on either of them. Even the library itself had been corrected. Finding the entrance took 3 hours. It was hidden behind movable shelving in an unused preservation wing. The access point was old. Older than modern security systems. Older than digital records. A narrow concrete staircase descended into darkness. Nobody spoke. The air felt different. Still. Heavy. As if the space had been sealed for years. Victor carried a flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness ahead. Dust drifted through the light. The staircase continued downward. Farther than expected. Eventually they reached a steel door. No markings. No labels. Nothing. Just a lock. Marcus examined it. Not electronic. Can you open it? Probably. 5 minutes later, the lock clicked. The sound echoed through the silence. Then the door slowly opened. The room beyond wasn't what Eleanor expected. No computers. No secret control center. No hidden archive. Instead, it resembled a conference room. A large table. Several chairs. Shelves filled with binders. A place designed for meetings. Nothing more. At first glance, it appeared ordinary. Then Eleanor saw the wall. An entire wall covered with photographs. Hundreds of them. People. Families. Researchers. Authors. Archivists. Business owners. Every face connected to the corrections. Some she recognized immediately. Thomas Bellamy. Daniel Whitmore. Arthur Finch. Clara Whitmore. Others were strangers. Yet all of them shared one thing. Red lines connected the photographs. Like a giant map. A network. A pattern. Marcus stepped closer. My God. Eleanor understood why. The photographs weren't organized by profession. Or date. Or location. They were organized by influence. Each person had challenged an accepted record. Each person had questioned the system. Each person became a target. Not for violence. For correction. The realization made her feel ill. Because it proved intent. Someone had been tracking them. For decades. Then Victor found something on the table. A folder. Unlike the others, it appeared recent. Very recent. He opened it. Inside was a list of names. Current names. Living people. Active researchers. Historians. Archivists. People asking questions. People investigating inconsistencies. People approaching the truth. Eleanor's name was there. Marcus's too. And at the top of the list. Arthur Finch. Across his name was a handwritten note. Removed. The word sent a chill through the room. Eleanor turned pages. More names. More notes. Most carried status labels. Observed. Monitored. Review pending. Then she found her own entry. Her stomach tightened. Next to her name was a date. Tomorrow's date. And beneath it, correction review scheduled. Nobody spoke. Nobody needed to. Because the meaning was obvious. The system wasn't waiting anymore. It had moved to the next stage. And somehow, Eleanor was the next person being reviewed. As Victor continued searching the room, he discovered something else. A sealed envelope. Addressed in neat handwriting. One name. Victor Wren. The room became silent. Slowly, Victor opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. A message. Short. Direct. Personal. Victor read it once. Then again. The color drained from his face. Eleanor stepped forward. "What is it?" Victor handed her the paper. She read. "You were never meant to stop the protocol." A pause. Then the final line. "You were meant to inherit it." Eleanor looked up. Victor stood motionless. As if the words had struck him physically. Because for the first time since this began, a possibility emerged that neither of them wanted to consider. Victor Wren might not simply be connected to the system. He might be the person it had chosen next. And somewhere inside the hidden room, a telephone suddenly began to ring. The telephone rang again. The sound sliced through the silence. Once. Twice. 3 times. Nobody moved. The hidden room felt frozen in time. Dust hung motionless in the flashlight beams. The photographs on the wall seemed to watch them. And in the middle of it all, an old black telephone continued ringing. Eleanor stared at it. The machine looked decades old. No visible power source. No active phone line. Nothing that should have allowed it to function. Yet it rang. Patiently. Waiting. Victor Wren was the first to move. "Don't answer it." Marcus looked at him. "What?" Victor's voice was sharp. "Don't answer it." The urgency surprised everyone. Eleanor had never heard him sound afraid before. The phone rang again. Then stopped. Silence returned. For one brief second, Eleanor thought it was over. Then a red light blinked beside the telephone. A voicemail indicator. A machine that supposedly wasn't connected to anything now contained a message. Marcus stared. "This is insane." "No," Victor said quietly. "It's exactly what I was afraid of." The recording lasted 23 seconds. Eleanor played it twice. Then a third time. The voice was distorted. Genderless. Calm. Professional. The kind of voice people trusted without realizing why. The message contained only one sentence. "Review session confirmed. Subject Eleanor Voss. Final determination pending." Then the recording ended. No threat. No explanation. Nothing. That somehow made it worse. Because whoever left the message wasn't trying to scare her. They were conducting a procedure. Like an administrative task. Like renewing a license. Updating a file. Approving a request. The impersonality chilled her. To them, she wasn't a person. She was a record. Marcus began searching the room systematically. Every drawer. Every cabinet. Every shelf. The hidden conference room contained decades of documentation. Meeting notes. Research summaries. Internal correspondence. Evidence of something enormous. Something carefully concealed. Eleanor focused on the photographs. The wall wasn't random. The connections mattered. Red lines linked individuals across generations. A historian connected to a publisher connected to a foundation connected to an archive. The network stretched everywhere. Then she noticed something strange. Most photographs contained names. Some didn't. Several faces lacked labels entirely. One photograph in particular stood out. A woman. Mid-50s. Dark coat. Standing outside a university building. No name. No identifying information. Yet dozens of red lines connected to her. More than anyone else on the wall. Even more than Arthur Finch. Even more than Clara Whitmore. Eleanor removed the photograph. On the back was a handwritten note. Coordinator. Nothing else. No date. No identity. Just one word. Coordinator. The discovery unsettled her. For months, she had searched for a mastermind. A leader. Someone pulling strings. Yet every major clue suggested the opposite. The protocol functioned through committees. Reviews. Processes. Consensus. No single person appeared responsible. Then who was the coordinator? Marcus suddenly called out from across the room. Eleanor. His voice sounded different. Tense. She hurried over. He had discovered a locked filing cabinet hidden behind a shelf. The lock had already been broken. Recently. Someone had opened it before them. Inside were dozens of binders. Each labeled with a year. 1987. 1988. 1989. And so on. Annual review records. The operational history of the protocol. Victor opened one. Then another. The pattern emerged almost immediately. Every year, a review board met. Every year, corrections were approved. Every year, historical disputes were resolved. Nothing surprising. Until Eleanor reached the attendance lists. Her pulse quickened. The names changed constantly. Different historians. Different archivists. Different institutions. No permanent members. No central leadership. No hidden ruling council. The board effectively reinvented itself every year. A rotating structure. Temporary. Decentralized. Invisible. Marcus looked up. There isn't a conspiracy. Victor nodded grimly. There never was. The realization hit Eleanor harder than she expected. A conspiracy can be exposed. A leader can be removed. A system spread across hundreds of institutions was something else entirely. Something much harder to stop. Then she found Clara Whitmore. Not her photograph. Her final report. The document was dated 19 years earlier. Marked. Confidential. Eleanor began reading. The report described Clara's investigation. Page after page. Evidence. Patterns. Warnings. Conclusions. Everything Eleanor had been discovering. Only Clara reached those conclusions decades ago. The final section made Eleanor's heart race. The protocol no longer requires intentional manipulation. She continued reading. Participants believe they are improving accuracy. Participants believe they are resolving conflicts. Participants believe they are preserving truth. A pause. Then. The danger comes from the structure itself. Eleanor slowly lowered the report. Clara had understood before anyone else. The protocol didn't need villains. Ordinary people maintained it. Good people. Responsible people. Experts trying to improve records. Each individual decision seemed reasonable. Together, those decisions created something dangerous. A machine that quietly decided which version of reality would survive. Near midnight, they discovered the most alarming document yet. A current review schedule. This year's active cases. Most entries contained anonymous identification numbers. Case 18. Case 27. Case 42. Then Eleanor found her own. Case 73. Status. Priority review. Review date. Tomorrow. Recommended outcome. Pending. Attached evidence. 86 documents. 11 witness statements. Institutional risk assessment. Marcus stared. Witness statements. What witnesses? Victor looked equally confused. The file shouldn't exist. Not yet. The review hadn't happened. And yet someone had already assembled evidence. Against her. Eleanor opened the attachment list. Her breathing stopped. The witnesses were people she knew. Colleagues. Researchers. Friends. People she trusted. People who had unknowingly contributed information. Casual conversations. Work evaluations. Internal reports. Normal interactions. Collected. Catalogued. Analyzed. Without their knowledge. Without hers. The protocol had been studying her for months. Maybe years. Then came the moment that changed everything. Marcus discovered a sealed folder hidden beneath the cabinet. Unlike everything else, this folder carried no official markings. No dates. No case number. No classification. Only one handwritten title. Emergency Authority Transfer. Victor took it. Opened it. Read the first page. Then went pale. What is it? Eleanor asked. Victor didn't answer immediately. His hands trembled. Finally, he looked up. The board knows. A knot formed in Eleanor's stomach. Knows what? That Arthur found the master catalog. Silence. Victor continued. They've initiated succession procedures. Meaning? Victor swallowed. The protocol assumes Arthur is permanently removed. The phrase felt deliberate. Not dead. Removed. Exactly the same language used throughout the system. Eleanor suddenly remembered Arthur's file. Arthur Finch, removed. Not deceased. Not missing. Removed. A status. Not an event. Then Victor turned another page. His expression changed completely. Shock. Pure shock. What? Victor slowly handed the document to Eleanor. A single name appeared under the succession order. The individual selected to inherit Arthur Finch's responsibilities. The next designated investigator. The next guardian of the protocol. The next person expected to maintain the system. Eleanor read the name. Then read it again. Because it didn't belong to Victor. It didn't belong to Marcus. It belonged to her. Eleanor Voss. At the bottom of the page, someone had added a handwritten note. Fresh ink. Recent. Only 4 words. Arthur chose her first. The room fell silent. Because suddenly the entire investigation looked different. Maybe Arthur hadn't been warning Eleanor. Maybe he had been preparing her. And if that was true, then Arthur Finch had known exactly where this was going long before any of them. Outside the hidden room, somewhere deep within the library, a steel door slammed shut. And for the first time all night, Victor Wren looked genuinely terrified.